There's this really strong idea in much of management, much of decision making, and as well as in research in general. And this is that there is a scarcity of resources that go around. And under this presumption, you have to limit the things that you work on, that you pick and choose the best possible thing at any given time. Now, it's really fascinating because this presumes that you understand the world and you presume what is the best possible course of action that you should be working on at this given moment. And if that's the case, then it would be extraordinarily easy to understand what to invest in the future. It'd be easy to pick the things that you're interested in. It would be easy to do many different things in our lives if we can prioritize and understand that there's only so much that goes around and we have to pick and choose what to actually do. I have a different view on things that I think is very different from much of how we understand this sort of contemporary economic view of things, that there's only so much to go around. And my view is that you don't know what that is. And so you have to set yourself up. And it may be true, right? You only have so much to go around. There's only so many things that you could do. And the problem is, I don't know what those things are. And so I set myself up in a way where there is a possibility that something could happen. It's not necessarily a sure bet. It's not that I'm committing 100% to one thing at any given time. In fact, I'm really wishy-washy about things. And I leave options open. Sometimes I fail at different things. And the reason is because I just don't know. Right. So, for example, this is an easy presumption in economic markets or financial markets, right? There's a lot of people that believe that they could pick the right stocks. They believe that they can choose by analyzing all of the data that there is some possible stock that is the best one. And that is true. You possibly can do that if given enough information. But if you start looking at the possibility of actually doing that and the practicality of doing that, the amount of computing power that you need, the amount of um, information that you need is essentially infinite. Not only do you need to know everything that's happened in the past, but you need to know everything that's going to happen in the future. And you also have to optimize on all given combinations that exist within the current state and within future states and in past states. That is an enormous task that is essentially impossible to do. So my presumption, and this is where I often say, get off your high horse. You don't understand the world. Who cares? Right? Like all of those things. And if I come into the situation knowing that, yeah, you know what? I suck. Right? Like I cannot choose anything, even if given all of the best available information, even if I was the smartest person on earth, even if I had the best computing, even if I had all of the resources that I could ever imagine, financial resources, time resources that I possibly could imagine, I'm still not going to pick on any particular thing. And I'm going to just simply either pick things very broadly, as one does with an index or a mutual fund or something like that. And that's all they're doing. It's just picking broadly. Or B, I pick things based on what I enjoy or that I find silly or that's goofy. And that's my reciprocity project that I kind of just enjoy. And I know that there's a problem that I experience and it's challenging. So why not? And there's no rationality to that one. So the other one, the former, picking index funds and all of that kind of stuff, there is total rationality to that, sort of betting on everything. But with the reciprocity project, there is no rationality to it. It's a complete passion. It's about a problem that I experience and thinking that I can maybe move the dial just a little bit. And I know it's completely irrational and everybody thinks I'm stupid, right? Like I know that coming into it, um, particularly in the extraordinarily rational market of academic research, where everybody thinks that they know everything, that they're smarter than everybody else. The truth is I don't know. The truth is I'm a giant mess. But I'm doing it because it's fun, because I think that there's something to be learnt for me, but also simply because there is a need that's out there. If you simply just start talking to people that are in academic research, they'll tell you, A, either that they're a winner, they're amazing, they know it all, they love it, they can tell you everything, all the truth, and they're highly successful and all of that. That's a very narcissistic view of the world. Or they will say, man, I am just screwed up. I don't know anything. The community is nasty. All of those kind of things. I tried and I gave up and I failed. Or I exited out of the market because it was just too ruthless for me. Or I wish I understood this more, which is probably what most people know. Or I continue to try and I continue to fail. All of those things tells me that nobody really understands it. But having some form of guidance in some sort of way that just keeps you happy and keeps you smiling is a good thing. Whether it's completely irrational or that there is any knowledge behind how it actually works. So to me, I love that. And I presume that I don't understand the world. Now, the other thing is to realize that the presumption that we have a limited amount of resources is true in the near term, right? We have to sort of choose one thing or the other. That is true. I can only spend so much time with my family or work at any given moment. However, we know that humans and other animals that exist are extraordinarily bad at predicting the future and the amount of resources that you get access to if you start looking at compounding effects. Compounding effects are really remarkable, and they're very, very hard to estimate. Now, there's mathematically extraordinarily easy to estimate. We can predict these things pretty well. But as human beings, we do a terrible job. The basic rule, if you look at compounding interest over time, is in the short term, you suck. And it's hard to do. And all of the basic rules that you understand, I have to choose this one or that one, all of those basic rules and the scarcity of things, that is true. In the long run, it is a miracle. And you can't imagine how different and how amazing that actually is. And so my view is almost always very, very long run. In the short run, I don't know how to do a lot of things. For the reciprocity project, man, I don't have enough time. And I do feel like if I work on this, that takes away from something, I feel those things. But in the long run, I know by investing in something like that, repeatedly, day in and day out, trying and trying and trying, that there's magic that happens that I can't explain. And neither can you. It's hard to explain. That is the core of competitive advantage. It's magic. And there's this idea, it's called the resource-based view, that tries to analyze why companies do better than others. They essentially come down to with four traits. It's rare, valuable, inimitable, and non-substitutable. Those things essentially just mean a lot of people want it, not too many people possess it, and it's extremely hard to copy. Now, that is one way to take it. But if you take a step back and you say, how do we actually get there? The theory that holds behind it says, I don't know. It's magic. They have things that are names behind it, like ambiguity and complexity and all of these kind of things, but ultimately it's magic. And that's where we are with it. So we have to understand, if we're looking at things that, one way to view the world is that there is only so much that goes around, and that's in the short term. In the long term, things are extraordinarily abundant. You can't explain how things actually work. And it just requires you to keep getting up and trying and trying and trying and trying. And you want to give up every day, but you get up and you do it anyways. And I hope that you understand where I'm getting at. In the short term, everything is completely rational. It all makes sense. And yes, there are trade-offs to be made. In the long term, nothing is rational. It doesn't make any sense why we do the things that we actually do. If you were to look at things like having kids, worst financial investment you'll ever make in your life. And yes, you can argue that maybe when you're older that you'll get some pleasure from that, but it's maybe not true. Not for everybody. Why do we do this? It's a great mystery. Some people say it's for evolutionary reasons, but I don't think that's everything. I think a lot of people have kids for many other reasons than just simply evolution or passing on your genes to the next population that happens after you, next generation that happens after you. You can't explain it. It's absolutely magic. And so we're faced with this tension of everyday rationality, of doing things because we only have a certain amount of time, and doing things because of magic, or because I said so, or because it's my desire and I can't explain my desire. Those two things are often very much conflicting with each other. And it's often the reason why we see people not investing in long-term projects. It's often the reason why we see people not investing in making sure that they eat healthy and doing all of the basic things that you can imagine that allow us to do well in life. Now, if you can balance those things, where you do a little bit of rational, a little bit of sane, investing in mutual funds, for example, it's real boring, and a little bit of insane, doing something like your little side project, something that you love, flying an airplane, going and paragliding, racing RC cars, building a software platform for PhDs and researchers. All of those things are completely insane and they make no sense, but they're extraordinarily important for humans and survival and doing interesting things in this world. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.